What's up, everybody? I have an impromptu live going on right now. This is the after hours of all after hours. So, not a whole lot of talking in this one. I'm just going to kind of be playing around. What I'm doing tonight is quilting around the letters and around the ribbon for the All Texas Shop Hop. This is big text for the Quilt Asylum. They made it and asked me to quilt it, so I'm super duper honored and excited to do it. So I just kind of wanted to give you a look-sees into what I'm doing. Let me zoom out real quick so you get a better view of what's going on. Zoom out. There we go. So he's kind of tucked up in there right now. But I've got all sorts of stuff going on, doing a blanket stitch around the side, and then I will be getting to the Ferris wheel later on. But tonight we are working on his belt buckle. So this is going to be fun. Using the monopoly, same thing that we used last night in the after hours when we were working on the piranha plant. So just doing some stitching around this one. So welcome, everybody. And we'll get started. Again, I'm just kind of playing around with this one. Moving through it. So this is that monopoly on top, and I've got bottom line in the bobbin. Tying off ahead of time. Starting with the needle in the down position. I'm going to be working with this one at 14 stitches per inch because this is a little bit of a tighter area. And then I'm going to be reusing those Baptist fan templates that we took a look at last night. So I'm just going to be stitching around the outside of these letters just to make them poof a little bit more. I've already stitched around the outside of the belt buckle, but I've got 2 layers of batting for this quilt to really make it pop. And so I really want these letters, when the light hits it just right, for those to pop as well. I've got Linda's Choice on the bottom, which is a really nice heavy cotton. And then I've got wool on top, which looks really nice. But super impromptu, again, late after hours, really after hours, but I thought it'd be kind of cool just for y'all to see kind of what's going on here, what I do after work. My Friday nights went from clubs to quilts, but I would much rather be quilting. Do I want to travel back on this, or I'm going to travel back. It's monopoly. It's 100 weight, super thin, so that back travel you won't really even see it. The A is just given, you got to go in and out of that a couple of times. But again, this is the this is big text. This was pieced, or actually, this is applique on raw edge applique on from the Quilt Asylum up in Denison, and they asked me to quilt it, so I was super excited to do that. Trying to get it all finished up, doing these final touches. So we did the A. We're going to hop over to the T, drop down, tie off, and I will trim that excess monofilament later. And here we go. Following right outside the blue on this. And forgive me, I'm not really able to look at questions right now, but I will hop over and look at the screen in just a second. But thank you all for joining me this evening. I'm doing a start and stop here as I go. Again, needle in the down position. That really helps you when you want to move a template. Keeps the machine from moving on you. Another big thing when you're working with templates, ruler work, anything like that, try to have it as close to you as possible. That's really going to help you get right over it instead of leaning and then in turn hurting your back or kind of pushing in the belly bar on the machine or the backing bar and causing that to bow. You really want that as close to you as possible, and trying to stand as straight up as you can will really, really help you. So now time to bounce over to the X and tie off. Again, using clear monofilament thread on this. That's probably why you can't see it as well on camera, but just really wanted you to see the technique. I like to stop my machine and start it every time I turn the ruler. Some people like to keep the machine going. I don't have that much trust in myself to let the machine continue to move. I'd rather just let it pause, let me shift my hand, get back in place, and then go from there. Once I get done with the letters, I will take the phone off so you can see really up close. The stitching on here, or not only on the belt buckle, but also the blanket stitch that I have applied to the outside. When I got this Big Tex, he's kind of just fused on to the backing fabric. And since I don't know what his final destination will be, if it's going to be back at the Quilt Asylum, or I hope he ends up at the State Fair, at least to be a cool looky-loo thing, a good photo op, because I think it'd be really, really cool to have at the State Fair. But I wanted to blanket stitch him down, so no matter what he does in his the rest of his career as he travels around, it's always going to stay nice and tight. However, I did do it with the monofilament as well, so it wouldn't be able to be seen. I wanted it to be an invisible thing, but something that will hold for sure. This S is going to be fun. I'm going to try and give you a better angle on the camera, so give me just a second. I want to get you a little higher because I know my hand's probably in the way. So bear with me. Yeah. There we go. I normally have someone behind the camera looking to make sure angles are good, but it's just me and the machine tonight. Sometimes that's all you need, just you and the machine. Once I get done with the S, I'll take a quick break and look at the comments. So I'm not meaning to leave you on standby. Okay, I took a break from the S. Oh, okay, we're all good. Mom said clubs to quilts. Every sentence a mom wants to hear. Yes, mother. That's me. Clubs to quilts. All right. So, how many of you have been on a shop hop or are going on your shop hop if you're in Texas for the first time here with the All Texas Shop Hop? It's going to be starting March 1st and it goes through April. It's got over 105 different stores. I think there's 106 now. Over 100 stores. And it's really, really cool. So, like, if you get the Shop Hop magazine that they have available, we also have it on our website, longarmsupplies.net. But it has your passport in there, and if you go to every store in your region, because all the stores are kind of broken up into regions, you can get a stamp in that passport, and then if you complete every store in your region, you can send that in, and you get entered in for all sorts of amazing prizes. I wish I could be entered in, because there's some really, really cool prizes. But I have never been on a shop hop before. As many oh, see, okay, y'all got to see what happens after hours. I hit the button on accident. We're gonna pick that out. As many quilt stores as I've been to, I've never really been on like an actual hop. I remember growing up, they did the one with the license plates. Is it row? No, row by row was a different one. But they had one where you went to all the different stores and you got different license plates, and that was all over the country. So when we went to Alaska to visit my grandma, I made sure that we stopped at almost every quilt store that we go. So I guess I did go on a shop hop. I made my mom take me. So yeah, I guess I did. I went and got all the license plates that I could while we were in Alaska, and didn't turn those into. I know where they are though. They're in my craft room at home. But I wanted to have them. I thought they were cool. But there's row by row, and then this is that All Texas one, which will have fun prizes at every single store. So like even if you just go into the store, of course look around because every store is kind of unique, but you get a like a little free quilt block that's printed, and each store has their own. So this one's ours. I think you can see that. Yeah, this one's ours. It's a design choice, but there are so many different cool quilt shops that are in it. And we turn this into a cute. I guess I can zoom out. Total impromptu, y'all. We turned ours into a cute table runner that will get quilted during the hop on after hours. We'll do. And I pulled it again. This is what I get, doing everything impromptu. It's fine. Y'all do this too, don't you? You accidentally hit buttons. Thank goodness for the seam ripper. Which, I mean, luckily it's just monofilament, so it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. Yeah, a lot better. Like it never happened. My buttons are nice and sensitive. Alright, we're going to pull up our threads. We're going to do the star on this one. Or quilting around the star on this one. There we go, a little tie off. Grab our straight edge template and do some stitching. But if you have been on a shop hop, what was your favorite part of it? If you haven't been on one, what would you like to see at a shop hop? Or what kind of things would you be looking for? I think it's so cool to be able to go to so many different stores and kind of see what everyone has and what their specialty is. Like here at LEQ, our specialty is wide backs and threads. So we have those over 25 different quilting threads, and then we have over, I think we're at 500 as of today, over 500 different wide backs to choose from. So that's kind of our specialty. But some stores, like there's a store in Plano, they specialize, Fabric Fanatics, they specialize in batiks, which is super duper cool. So if you're looking for a batik, that's the place to go. But every store just kind of has their own thing. And I think that's what makes us all so unique. And we're also supportive of one another, which is great. Alright, so we're doing that. Let's do some tie-offs. And then pull our threads and trim away. Ooh. There we go. Doop, doop. Oh, it's puffing up so good. Alright, I'm going to pop the camera off real quick. I still have to do some trims here on the embroidery, so don't get too critical on that one. But what's the best way to get the shadowing? Ooh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Oh, I wasn't even zoomed back in. Mom, I need you back. Come back. Just get out of bed and drive up to the office real quick. So that's just the stitch down on that, which really, really makes it pop. But you can tell the difference in between how it's stitched down with the wool and without the wool, which really gives it that extra poof. Like for instance over here, oops, sorry. Over here we have text blanket stitched down, and you can tell just how poofy he is, where the wool just kind of went in and filled up that section. And if I can get you a good enough visual, on the blue should work. Let me bring some light over. There we go. There we go. So I use the path apply function on my Anova autopilot, and it did this blanket stitch in it, and it does it with the embroidery module, so there are just little perfect stitches that lock it down. And with that monofilament, it's really, really, really hard to see. I've also stitched down the outside of the belt, but I left the belt loops open, so that was kind of cool, so you could touch them, I guess, if you wanted. I don't know. Let's walk back around. Those clouds are really, the handwork. Just look how amazing they did. I gotta close up those holes a little bit. A little bit of steam will help close those holes. So with the fabric being fused on, and then, or on a fusing and then fused onto this, when you put a needle through that, it's gonna leave that hole. You do a little bit of steam on that, it's gonna close that hole right up, and it'll just disappear right now. It looks like he's got stitches. We're gonna fix that. Let's keep going. This is so much fun. Okay, I'm not on any buttons. All right, now let's zoom back in. And now let's do the arch around the banner. I'm gonna leave the 2024 unstitched around. I think it's too small to go around, but we will arch around these sections. So what I'm going to do is I'll start right over here, and I'm going to take a single stitch, pull up my thread, and then a couple more single stitches to tie off. And then we're going to get going. Turning this into an arch. Now this arch isn't the exact same size as the banner, but I'm kind of starting, and I don't know if it's hard to tell, but I'm loosening my thumb a little bit as it's moving, and that's going to help keep it going at that nice beautiful arch of this banner. But that's also just giving you, doing that, that's giving you a little bit of resistance on that template, just to kind of help you go the natural way that you're wanting to. Instead of having to find that exact arch, use your thumb and kind of let that slide down and use that as that resistance on your ruler foot. And that'll just help it glide exactly where you want it to go. To the end. And then we can turn this, and now I'm using my straight edge. One more stitch. There we go. Same thing here at the bottom. Let me trim these top threads. There we go. So just kind of using your fingers as to hold the template, not trying to follow directly on that arch itself, because that arch is not the exact same as the banner. But you're using that as resistance to push your machine where you want to without going off kilter, and it's going to hit exactly where you need it to every single time. There's that. There's that. And then we'll do a little extra, and now we can do our tie off. And because the thread is so thin, I'll do 2 tie offs, so 5 stitches, really tight. Anytime you're doing tie offs, make sure when you're doing those tie offs to slowly move your machine one direction or another. That way then it has a chance to make those tie offs. If you're keeping it in the exact same hole, once that stitch hole is made, about 2 or 3 of them later, it's not going to catch that anymore. It's just going to be one hole that is just going to have the thread go in and out, and then you're going to lose that tie that you were wanting to build. So always move your machine just a hair so it can move through the different fibers and lock down your tie-off stitch. When pulling up your bobbin, it's hard to see, but when pulling up your bobbin, give it an extra little tug. You'll hear it very faintly, or you could even feel it go pop. You don't want it pop to break. You just want that pop to let it pop right in between the layers. That way it hides it on the back as well as on the top. But if you just barely pull up your bobbin thread and trim it, it's going to leave a tail on the back, and then you're going to find yourself trimming all those tails away, which is not fun. We don't want to do that. And then I'm just going to leave the Denison embroidery piece, just going to leave that there and let it poof naturally. But the difference now, if I can get the right shadowing, let's see what we can get. Oof. I think let's do it over here. Yeah, there it is. The difference. It looks so good, y'all. That extra little poof that it gives is absolutely amazing. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm looking at the comments, I'm sorry. Oh, can you explain what the quilt is for again? Yes, I can. So this is, let me unroll them a little bit because I'm not doing anything computerized right now, so it wouldn't matter naturally. And then I can turn on the light bar and you can see. So this is for the All Texas Shop Hop for 2024, the first All Texas Shop Hop for 2024. Let me unroll him a little bit so you can see him. But this was a quilt that I was asked to quilt from the Quilt Asylum in Denison. Let me see if I can get enough of them. There we go. And I'll turn on the light so you can see. So this will be their kind of their photo op booth in their, hello, let there be light. This will be their photo op booth in their store, which will be super duper cool. So let me zoom out so you can see them. There's Big Tex. Look how good they did. It was a group effort up there. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Did that blanket stitch around the cowboy hat, around the top here. It's gone all the way around. Did it around the hand. I did the stitching right here in the palm to give it a little bit of texture on the hand, so it's just kind of looking like those natural creases that we have. And then we've got this cloud and wind background, edge to edge pattern that went. And then I'll move into wind down here. Here is the Ferris wheel. And they have the tiny little baskets. I'm going to attempt, don't hold me to it, but I'm going to attempt to use the embroidery module that I have on my long arm to put little people in here. Do not hold me to it. I don't know. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. Here are the letters as well. Now these are, let's see if I can pull it up. These are a 2-piece letter to give it a 3D effect. So I'll end up just straight line stitching around the sparkly part and then around the outside of the royal blue part to really make it pop like it was intended. But I'll probably do a few more of these impromptu videos this weekend. I'm going to finish this weekend. That's it's going to happen. But there's his boots with the name of the quilt shop that made it, the Quilt Asylum. And then all the flowers I will end up probably free motioning to really make them pop. And the little hill of grass. And this one, this is really cool. So this little red flag section will actually have a quilt hanging over it, which is going to be super duper cool. And the quilt is quilted with crosshatch. So I decided the idea of this was people like to lift up the quilts to see what the backing looks like. Well, the quilt was quilted with crosshatch. And because the quilt is so large, it's folded and will be laid here. So if someone goes to lift it up and you want to see the back, this is the actual backing fabric that is on the quilt that will be hanging over it. This is the binding that's on the quilt, and I am going to quilt this with crosshatch so it matches the quilt that's hanging. So when you pick it up, you're actually looking at the back of the quilt, quote unquote, which is going to be super duper cool. So now we get to roll it back up ever so slightly. Gotta be really careful not to over tighten. But that is tonight's little lesson. So we did the belt buckle tonight, and this was just doing that free motion all the way around, again using monopoly, which is majority of what's being done around here is the monopoly. Oh, this section. So this right here is all raw edge applique. So I'm going to come in with a decorative stitch to make it look like the stitching on the jeans right here, because I have that function with my machine. And it's going to give it that same effect, and it's going to make the shirt look like a really dressy dress shirt. And if I'm not mistaken, she's going to apply buttons on here after the fact, so it'll look like a really cool shirt when it's all done. So that's my impromptu lessons, me just kind of talking. But you can even see the poof that the wool gives it. It's got the layer of wool and then the layer of Linda's Choice under there as well. There's my little lesson. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to get back to quilting, and you have a great evening.